Reflexive verbs. So in your notes, it has this first part. It says reflexive verbs. These end in oneself or selves in English. And it shows that a person that's doing the verb is also receiving the action of a verb that's being done. So that's why the mirror. So it kind of like it bounces off. So if I say I wash my hair, I'm the one with the clean hair. If I say I brush my teeth, I'm the one with the clean teeth. So reflexive verbs have two parts, the reflexive pronoun and then the verb itself. The pronouns are me, te, se, no, se. And the verbs are any kind of present tense, preterite, or imperfect verb. So part one, regular conjugation. Hint one, okay, we got to circle the se and move it and change it to the front of the verb. Hint two, you got to drop the AR, ER, and then add the correct ending. So here we go. So if I circle that se and I move it to the front, I change it to me, te, se, nos, se. And then I look what's left after I drop the se, and I'm left with an AR verb, bañar. So I drop the AR, and I add the endings for an AR verb. Me baño, te bañas, se baña. The whole thing sounds like this. Nosotros nos bañamos. Ellos se bañan. So that first part, that yo, tu, el part, that's the subject pronoun. That me, te, se part, that's the reflexive pronoun. And the baño, bañas, baña, that's the verb part. So what are you saying in English? I bathe myself, you bathe yourself, he bathes himself, we bathe ourselves, they bathe themselves. So whoever's doing the action is also receiving the action. So part two. What to do when a reflexive verb is the second verb, okay? So if we have two verbs next to each other, what do we do? Well, we got to match the reflexive pronoun to the subject pronoun. Like yo would be me, and tu would be te. We've actually done these on a few of our vocabulary activities. A second hint is to keep the reflexive pronoun at the end of the infinitive, or you can move it in front of the conjugated verb. We'll have examples of both. So here we go. We got to put the reflexive pronoun attached to the infinitive. I plan to sleep. Yo pienso dormir me. There it is. I attached it to the end. And yo me match. And then it says you plan to wash your hair. So tú piensas lavar, and I'm going to attach it to the end. Te el pelo. Tu and te, they match. Now I can also put it before the conjugated verb. The conjugated verb is underlined on that first one. Pienso and piensas. Look at this one. I plan to sleep. Yo me pienso dormir. Or tú te piensas lavar el pelo. So I can, when there are two verbs, I can either attach it to the infinitive or I can move it in front of the conjugated verb. Part three, boot verbs. Okay, here's one of the hints. You always have to circle that se, move it, and change it to the front of the verb. Hint two, you got to watch for that parentheses with the E to IE or the O to UE or whatever it is. And you got to change the verb in the correct pattern, in the boot pattern. And hint three, don't forget to add the correct AR, ER, IR endings. So here's an example, okay? We're going to use the next slide, but I'm showing you this is what your worksheet looks like. We're going to use the next slide to fill it in. So jugar is a boot verb, and it means to play, and it says U to UE. So inside the boot, I'd say yo juego, tú juegas, él juega, nosotros jugamos, ellos juegan. I only did the verb jugar because I wanted you to see and remember what a boot verb looks like. Now let's do a reflexive boot verb. So despertarse is a boot verb, and that E that's in the middle of the sentence, the second E that's in the middle of the word, is going to change to an IE. So inside the boot, it'd be yo me despierto. Sorry, we got to change that se. Me, te, se, nos, se. There we go. Now we got to conjugate the AR verb. We got to move that se first, and then we got to conjugate the verb. So yo me despierto. Tú te despiertas. Él se despierta. Nosotros nos despertamos, and ellos se despiertan. So if you look inside the boot, it changed from E to IE in the middle of that word, and outside it stayed the same. The next two we're going to use is acostarse and dormirse. We'll use the next slide to help us fill this in. So acostarse, this is an O to UE boot verb, and it means to go to bed. So first thing we're going to do is move that se to the front, and it would change to me, te, se, nos, and se. The second thing we got to do is we got to drop the AR, and we got to change that O to UE. So yo me acuesto, tú te acuestas, él se acuesta, nosotros nos acostamos, and ellos se acuestan. So if you'll notice, in the boot, that O changed to UE, and at the end of each verb, we have the AR verb endings. O estamos on. Look outside the boot. Acostamos did not change. It stayed as an O. Let's look at our last verb, dormirse, which means to go to sleep. So that se needs to move to the front, so it would change to me, te, se, nos, and se. We're left with dormir, which is an IR verb, and that O has to change to a UE. So inside the boot, it'd be yo me duermo, tú te duermes, él se duerme, nosotros nos dormimos, and ellos se duermen. So again, inside the boot, it changed from an O to UE, duerm, and then we added the IR verb endings, o, es, imos, and so the dormimos didn't change from O to UE, it just stayed as an O. So we're going to practice with the next activity.